not standing up for myself. And I didn't want that to be the example that I'm setting for my kids, that I just sat there and took it. So that's when I decided to leave. When you're deprived of something or when you're in that controlling situation, you see that like little inch that they give you and you're like, oh my God, like, wow, like,
yeah.
This is something,
right?
You know? But then when you're out of that situation, you're like, oh my God. Because ultimately when somebody wants to do something evil, they're going to find a way to do it, no matter what you try to do.
Hi, and welcome to another episode, another season of the Woman Witness podcast of Stories at the Well. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices and stories of women that are out there making a positive impact and making a difference in their lives, in the community, and the world around them. Today, I have a very special topic and a very special guest today. Before I introduce her, I'm going to read a little bit about her. Today, we are introducing Miss Rosaline Alam. She's an author, a mother, and an expert in parental alienation survival. She aims to educate individuals facing alienation and advocate for a legal system reform. At the age of 13, Rosaline was coerced into a marriage by a family friend who was 32. And after 15 years, she divorced him, only to have him manipulate her children into alienating her, mirroring how she was estranged from her parents years ago. This is a classic case of parental alienation, a problem in the American legal system seldom addresses, despite 1 in 4 children from divorced families experiencing it, as per the American Psychological Association. Rosaline is determined to drive change in the legal system, and she offers hope to those affected by parental alienation. She recently published her latest book, Preyed Upon, a multiple generation of parental alienations, a memoir and self-help guide that equips parents with strategies to navigate losing and or potentially losing or regaining their children from parental alienation. Residing in Los Angeles, California, Rosaline dedicates her free time to global travel, tirelessly fighting to reunite with her children and reform the legal system. Rosaline's aspirations are to educate, effect, and inspire. Rosaline, I'm so excited to have you here to talk about this topic. I do believe that it's one that needs light. It needs to be brought to light. So I'm happy that you are here to educate us, to change, and also hopefully inspire many who are listening. Rosaline, welcome to the Well.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited.
Well, thank you for being here. Rosaline, we spoke a little bit before, and I told you after interviewing over 100 women, I have not had this topic come to light. And I'm just excited that you are willing to come back, be a witness, and share with those who may be facing similar challenges of their own, and give a strategy and offer inspiration of how to navigate through some of these waters. So let me go ahead and give you the floor and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are. I know I read some, but tell us a little bit about who Rosaline is.
Well, let me see. So I'm a mom of 2. I recently got married last year.
Congratulations.
Also a stepmom of 2 girls. Life has been a struggle, obviously with not having my children. But the one thing that I always had to keep in mind is to keep pushing and think positive and do everything I need to do for when my kids actually come back.
Yeah.
I'm solid. I'm strong. even though it's very hard to get out of your head of, being depressed, not being around your kids. But I made that one of my goals in life, to work on myself, and be there for when my children come back. That's the ultimate dream.
Oh,
So I've been in the financial industry for about 15 years. So I really enjoy that. I have an MBA in finance, and I also did my undergrad in finance. And I just decided that I need to get the word out regarding parental alienation, because it does happen a lot, but a lot of people either don't really know what to call it.
yeah.
It's not really known yet. Or they're just embarrassed because, like as a parent, especially as a mom,
Mhm.
when your children, don't want to spend time with you or don't want to see you, or it's embarrassing because you think, what are people going to say? They're going to think, oh, well, she's probably not a good mom. Or, the instant response is maybe there's something that she's doing wrong.
Yeah.
But they don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So a lot of times why it's not discussed is because it's embarrassing, because people are going to look at them like they're just being a bad parent.
Right.
So that brought me to writing the book.
Mhm.
And ultimately I want, hopefully, my kids to read it
Yeah.
and know really what happened. Now
Let
they're at
me-
an age where they're in their 20s.
Mhm.
So, I'm hoping they get a chance to read it and really see what was happening behind the scenes.
Get the full story. Let
Mhm.
me let me ask you, I read a little bit about your story, and you said that when you were younger, you married young, and it almost sounds like you're bringing this happens in a cycle. So can you talk to us about that? How you feel that now you're mirroring what you went through?
I do feel that in that situation, it doesn't happen as often. The fact that it's a cycle, you don't see that as much. But in my scenario, it just happened where it was a cycle. Um, their father was a family friend,
Mhm.
and he was basically at at the house all the time. He was part of the family. So he gained that control by being in the mix,
Yeah.
always there. And because of, the cultural background, I'm from Syria.
Mhm.
Um, you don't, you're not allowed to date, you're not allowed to, do any of that.
Yeah.
And you're expected to, listen to anyone in the household that is older than you.
Mm.
So he basically preyed upon
Got it.
um, me by taking that control and abusing his power as an adult in the household.
Yeah.
Um, and eventually, when we got married, um, he kept me away from my family.
Mm.
So when he kept me away from my family, the whole time that we were married, um, when I filed for divorce, he did the same thing with my kids, because
Got
that's like his MO.
Yeah. Got it. To
Mhm.
try to control and manipulate the situation by withholding that child
Exactly.
from. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can relate to this story in many ways, but I'm gonna hold off for sharing. So talk to me about that. You wrote your book, Preyed Upon. So I now understand a lot more of the story, because now you want your children to understand that mommy didn't just walk away. This is something that is not a cycle, but this is something that he's done before. So
Yeah.
can you talk to me a little bit about how that, when you decided to leave him at 15 years into the marriage, what was that deciding factor that you said, you know what, I have to stop this. I have to regain my myself again. I have to find myself or rediscover who I am.
Yeah. So that decision obviously was very difficult because he did control everything. Even though I had graduated, college, but I wasn't allowed to work. I was at home raising the kids, which blessing that I was able to do that.
Mhm.
However, I wasn't allowed to be in the workforce or feel like I'm in control of anything.
Yeah.
So that's another way that he used to manipulate and control me because I don't have a say in anything. I don't have any financial freedom or in any way.
Yeah.
So when I was living in that household, feeling like I was in prison because I couldn't see my family, I couldn't talk to my parents. My kids grew up not having a relationship with my side of the family at all.
Mhm.
So, and he was very verbally abusive, just very demeaning, puts me down on regular basis.
Yeah.
And my daughter was about 5 at the time when I decided to
Mhm.
leave, and my son was about 3.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, one day I was looking at them and I was like, wow, this is what they're seeing every day. So the first thought was, I don't want my daughter to grow up thinking this is how it's expected for her to get treated
Right.
by her husband
Right.
in the future. And same for my son, it's like, I don't want him to think this is how he treats his future wife.
Yes.
So in that moment, I was like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
And I didn't have any leg to stand on really because
Yeah.
I never worked, nothing, but I knew that I couldn't continue not standing up for myself. And I
Yeah.
didn't want that to be the example that I'm setting for my kids, that I just sat there and took it.
Mm.
So that's when I decided to leave.
Tell me about that moment when you decided to leave. That means who did you lean on in that moment? Was it your parents? Did you have close friends? How hard was it to take that step and say, I need help?
My parents, even though I wasn't really allowed to see them or talk to them,
Yeah.
towards the end of the marriage, right before I decided to file for divorce,
Mhm.
he was allowing me to visit my parents for 3 hours a day.
Wow.
Sorry, a month, one day.
Oh,
Yeah,
3
3 hours
hours a month?
in 1 month. Yeah, and it was timed, and um, so I was getting a little bit more contact with them.
Yeah. And they can see.
And what's crazy is when you're deprived of something or when you're in that controlling situation,
Mhm.
you see that like little inch that they give you, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like wow, like
Yeah.
I'm so
This is
thankful,
something. Right.
But
Yeah.
then when you're out of that situation, you're like, oh my God.
This was awful. Yeah.
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 But at the time, I was actually excited because
Grateful.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to see them.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy when you think back at certain things in your life.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but yeah, so I leaned on my parents. Um,
How did that conversation go, Rosalind, when you were like, here's what's going on? Did it just all pour out? How did that?
they've known a little bit of like what I was going through.
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't tell them, everything because, as a parent, they're just gonna worry. And
Yeah.
the fact that I couldn't really be close to them, I didn't want them to be worrying all the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't let them in
Yeah.
100%. Um, in my way, protecting them,
Yeah.
from the worry. But I told them that, there's certain things that are happening. They knew that he had threatened me before. They know about his temper because they've known him.
Right.
So they supported it in that if you don't think that there's a way to fix whatever's happening in the marriage, then we support you.
Well, oh my goodness. Thank God for your parents. Okay. Let me say that. And and I just think of so many different terminologies that are going around right now, right? Like narcissists and gaslighting, all these things that I'm gonna be honest with you, I had no idea about.
Mhm.
I didn't know. I grew up dealing with it. I grew up watching it in my own home. So for it now to have a face and a name and something that makes you think, okay, I'm not crazy. Okay, this is not normal. It gives me hope that more women are out there speaking about it, more people, more psychologists and people are out there educating people on the fact that you do not have to remain in a prison while being free. Okay, I got to calm down. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Okay, so I want to move into understanding parental alienation because this is serious. And I told you before, I'll share just a little bit and I won't take up a lot of your time. I grew up in something like this, very similar, where my dad tried to do that with my mom, which kind of kept her stuck in a situation that she could not get out of because she didn't want to lose us. And I do believe that that is part of what parental alienation is. But I want to give the floor back to you and you talk to us. And can you explain to some of our listeners and some of our women or men who are listening who don't know the terminology and what parental alienation looks like? Talk to us about that.
So even though it had happened to me before I had my kids, I didn't know, there was no name for it. I didn't know what it was. I knew that it was just an extreme control, like almost like obsessive control. But honestly, when I decided to file for divorce, I never thought that the cycle was going to happen again because I didn't know what it was.
Right.
So, it didn't even cross my mind. And now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, like, was that naive of me? Should I have known? You start blaming yourself and you're like, what should I have known that I didn't know? What should I have looked out for? And how could it have happened to me and I didn't know that it was going to happen again?
Yeah.
So that like guilt of blaming yourself and feeling like I should have known.
Yeah.
It's very hard to move past.
Yeah.
Because ultimately when somebody wants to do something evil, they're going to find a way to do it.
100%.
No matter what you try to do or no matter what knowledge you have. But it's important to understand that some of the things to kind of look for is, for example, he would say something to along the lines of, oh, your mom doesn't love you because she didn't take the day off of work to, spend the day with you or things like that.
Yeah.
Where if he takes a day off for whatever reason, he makes it seem like he dropped the world.
Everything.
For them.
Yeah.
And that like grandiose kind of like, oh, I do so much for you.
Yeah.
And while minimizing whatever you're doing. So anything I did was never really good enough in their eyes because I didn't do that grandiose, like I didn't do that play. I don't play into the whole,
look what I've done.
Look what I did, where he did that. And as kids, they don't know.
No.
They're thinking, oh, well, dad left everything for us.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
That's one example.
So would you call that grooming? He was preparing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely grooming. We had gone to a couple of therapy sessions and that was one of the words that was used. Yeah. Again, another word that we didn't know back then.
Don't know. Yep. 100%.
It's just a new word that now we're like, oh, that's what it is.
That's what that's called. Yes. Yeah. I'm with you 110%. Oh my gosh, I get excited about that, but I love the fact that you're giving us some of these early traits, right? These early things of looking for. So and this is, can I just say this and you piggyback on this? If you are in a relationship where, you feel as if your voice isn't being heard, you're experiencing some type of abuse, mentally, physically, sexually, either way, and you have children involved, just what Rosaline said, paying attention to some of these early signs. Can you give us a little bit more, Rosaline, of what to look for and how do we react without overreacting, right? Because I don't want people to say, oh my God, that's been happening to me, now I'm out of here.
Mhm.
How do we not overreact? How do we move strategically? I hate to say that word, but how do we move to where we protect ourselves and our children in our outcome?
That's the hard one.
I know.
Because, I mean, there's only so much you could do. And even when you do it, you don't know if you're doing the right thing or not.
Right.
Because, like, for example, when my daughter first said that, oh, she wants to live with her dad.
Yeah.
As a parent, you're like,
Oh,
do I say absolutely not? You're just not going to do this? Do I allow her to feel like she has the power to choose? But there was so many things that had happened. She was accusing me of abusing her. There were so many things, and CPS was getting involved. And I had another child, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do I do? Like, allow her accusations to continue and potentially land me in jail? Who knows? You don't know which way it's going to go. Or do I have a serious conversation with my daughter, tell her this is a huge decision. You're too young to be making this decision. But if this is what what you want to do,
Yeah.
let's test it out, which is the choice that I made. But now I'm like, after that, I never saw her again. So you don't know. Like it's very hard as a parent to navigate, because number one, you want to try to be a parent.
Yeah.
And, set boundaries and set rules. But when you're dealing with someone that's alienating your children, there are no rules.
There are no rules because they'll stop at nothing.
Nothing. So I don't have a right or wrong way. You literally have to it's trial and error and test a little bit and kind of see the boundary, and then kind of maneuver that way, which was maybe what I should have done, like not full on said, okay, and then, see what happens.
Yeah.
Say, oh, you can go for a weekend.
Yeah.
Or,
Let's test this out for a little bit.
But ultimately, legally, I had 50-50 custody.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you. That was going to be my next question.
It wasn't even like, oh, I gave up custody. I still legally have 50-50 custody. But that's where the court system comes into play. That's where I feel there should be a huge change in the legal system, because a 12-year-old, in my opinion, should not have the right to choose who they want to live with.
Or how much time they should spend with each parent.
Exactly. Unless there's like a real reason, like
abuse,
they're not getting
something crazy.
Something crazy. They're not getting what they need. They're really getting abused.
Right.
In those situations, okay, that's different.
Right.
But a 12-year-old can't smoke. They can't drive. They can't make any other decision in their life, but they could choose such a huge decision of literally not seeing one parent and only spending time with another. When, realistically, everybody knows it's important to have both parents in a child's life.
Yeah.
Mother and father.
100%.
And every therapist you can talk to will tell you that.
Yeah.
It's more damaging to not have a parent in a child's life. So why is the court system allowing that?
Right. Whether it's supervised visits, whatever it is, but
Yeah.
something has to give where it's not just all this one person controlling the outcome of that child that was
Exactly.
created by two people.
Exactly. That's the thing. No, I didn't get any supervised visits. I didn't get anything. I'm like, you have parents like in jail. You have parents that are drug addicts. You have
Yeah.
parents that are literally on the street, and they have more access to their child than I did.
Yeah.
As a professional woman, you know, it was just crazy.
Let me ask you, Rosaline, now, did he have like lawyers, and did you have lawyers?
He had lawyers, and obviously he made more money than me, which allowed him more power, more control.
Yeah.
You know, I fought as much as I could, but at the end,
By yourself, or did you have legal representation?
no, I had legal representation.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But incurred debt,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to do that, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to not fight for my children.
Right.
But at the end, what happened is, even with all that, because he has the children saying, we don't want to see mom, the court is like, we can't do anything about it.
Oh,
You know, and which is going back when he did that with me, everybody that, I had met after we got married, they would ask, oh, where's your family? Normal conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I was taught to say was, oh, I don't want a relationship with them.
Yeah.
I said the same words
that your kids
and I was older.
Yeah.
And he was able to control me that way. So imagine his own children. Of course he's going to be able to.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my goodness. Oh, this relates. This hits home for me. It makes me sad for the kids, ultimately. And hearing you and knowing that you went through it too. So I know that you feel that sadness and that empathy and that yearning to be with your kids. You should, give them a hug and say, hey, you know what? Here's the true story, right? Let me ask you, how did you cope with the feelings of that loss and betrayal that comes with parental alienation?
I literally just got the chills when you just said that. Like, yeah. I just got the chills. I deal with it every day still. There are certain things that just are triggers, and I'll just cry at the drop of a dime. I'll just tears, and certain things will just remind me of them, or something they said one day, or I'll be going somewhere. I'm like, oh, this is a place that they used to love going, and just things like that. So it's every day I deal with it. But what I've learned is to take that as a positive, like, reminder of them, versus allowing it to control my day. And like, okay, so I cried. That's fine. That's my emotion at that moment. I'm going to allow myself to cry, but I'm not going to allow that to bring my whole day down. And I had to train myself to do that. Instead of crying, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything all day. I'm going to sit in bed. I'm going to do nothing. Because at the beginning, that's what it was. Yeah. Until I learned how to, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes. I'm going to be sad as I want to be for this small time. Yeah. And then I'm going to get up, wash my face, get dressed, go about my day. It takes a while to learn how to do that. But that's been my saving grace. To be able to pick myself up and just keep going. I mean, there was times where I'm driving to see a client, and a song will come on that me and my son used to like sing to. Yeah. I swear, just tears, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm driving to see this client in my makeup. But I'm like, I don't care. And then
Yes.
I just kind of, wipe
Let it
everything
out.
off
Yep.
and go about my day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a daily thing. And then I do have just about every day I dream about them.
You're what? Say it again.
I dream about them
Oh.
just about every day. In the beginning, it was I would wake up with a smile on my face. Like I just wait because it was like I just spent all night with them, because it feels like you're dreaming all night.
Yeah.
And I wake up with a smile on my face and I'm like, oh my God. And in my dreams, it's so weird. In my dreams, their dad is always in the shadows somewhere. Like I see him, like either behind a tree or something. And the kids are playing either like at their daycare or preschool. I always dream about them like when they're smaller.
Interesting.
And I'd call for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
give me a hug. And in my dreams, they would always run to me.
Yeah.
But what's funny is in my dreams, I'm thinking, oh my God, they're running to me. Like, how come he's allowing them to run to me? Because I see him in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
So, but I wake up thinking, oh my God, they ran to me. So it was like God's way of giving me my time with my kids in a weird way. It was like, this is my time with my kids.
Yeah.
And I got it just about every day when I went to sleep, when I woke up, and I spent time with them in my dreams. And trying not to cry. But yeah.
Okay, Rosaline, I want to just tell you, and here's like really what I see, and I love that dream. And even if you were still having those dreams today, I just really feel that could be a way that God is showing you that He will take care of that in the inner child, that part of them that felt abandoned by you because they don't know the full story. And I believe that in those dreams, I feel that God was telling you and showing you that don't worry. He's going to heal that part of them. And the older that they get, they're going to become much more mature. They're going to be able to understand, maybe mom couldn't have, but there's still that little side inside of them that still hurts. Even for you. And I just feel that if you just keep believing and just keep steadfast, that God is going to heal that part for both of you guys. And that is the only thing that is hindering that reuniting of your family once again. And there's not going to be anything that your ex-husband can do to stop it. Okay. That's just what I heard. Okay. So moving forward, your journey to survival, Rosaline, your journey did not stop. Somehow you found the ability to rebuild your life and turn around and be an advocate for parents that are going through the same thing. How did you do it? How'd you do it?
Well, I did go to this transformational workshop. One of my closest friends had been, she saw how I was, depressed, not wanting to do anything, pretty much just no focus, no life,
Yeah.
And she was like, you have to go to this workshop. And I was just like, whatever. Like, I don't believe in that stuff, and I said no to her, like, I don't know, for 3 years.
Interesting.
And then one day she kept at it. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll do it. Okay. Just stop nagging me. I'll do it. And it was like the best decision of my life.
Really?
Yes.
What did the workshop teach you? What did it inspire you? What did it awaken in you?
It literally broke you open. Everything that, all the doubts that you would have in your mind as a parent, it just broke you open, and it made you see things in a different way. most of the time, the way we react to anything in our life is we take it personal.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
And it can have nothing to do with us at all. And we take it personal. We're like, well, why did that person look at me that way?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I do.
they probably didn't even notice me. And they're thinking about 50 other things in their head.
Right. 100%.
So one of the main things that I thought it helped me with is not taking things personal. And really understanding things that people go through in their life. And you meet so many people that have gone through so many things. And you're like, wow. Like every person goes through some type of tragedy, some type of struggle in their life. And everyone is literally just trying to survive every day. Somehow, on some level, you know?
100%.
And it makes you feel like more of a connection to random people that you meet. You know, like I'll see somebody in the grocery store and I'm like, I wonder how their thing's going. Like you start thinking about, I wonder what they're going through, versus taking everything personal. Like, oh, they're pissed off because I did something, but they're probably going through another struggle. Right. You know, so I guess it helps you be more empathetic.
Yes.
The human race in general.
Yes.
And that was very positive for me. And then it also helped me to forgive. And that was like,
oh, that's a big F word. That's often hard for me.
And it's
gotta do it.
One of the things that I would have sworn up and down I would never forgive.
Yep.
Their dad. I would never. And I realized that forgiving him is not, because I used to think of it as, oh, if I forgave him, that means what he did was okay. 100%. But it has nothing to do with that. Yeah. And I realized and I learned through the workshop that forgiveness is for me. 100%. Instead of me being angry 24/7, forgiving him is for me. It's not saying, oh, what he did is okay. So being able to forgive him, and the fact that I'm even saying that I forgive him is like, wow.
That's good. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, but that totally allowed me to feel free.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it was such a freeing, like, realization, I guess. After I'll actually said it, and I said, oh my God, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And from that point is when I said, you know what? I'm not going to be scared of anything. I'm going to tell my story. And that's it. I'm going to focus on what I can control. Yeah. Because I can't sit there and think about all the things I can't control. Nope. I'm just going to feel helpless. So I'm going to focus on what I can control. And this workshop helped me do that. Focus on what I can control.
I like that. And that is all you can do. That big F word that coming from a background of trauma, that is the one word that was very hard for me. But I have to, and I will tell you, and for some women who are listening to this, and men possibly, if you are on the other side of the alienation, parental alienation, that forgiving part is so huge. And like you said, Rosaline, when we forgive, we are setting ourselves free. And you have to do it daily. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have to remind myself I'm not mad anymore.
Yes, of course. Yeah, there are things that'll happen, Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I just remembered I forgave him. Okay. Yeah.
I gotta go. Can't stay here. I gotta go. Girl.
Of course. Okay. It's a daily thing.
Okay, so I want you to talk to me about your mission to educate, and I love what you say. This is what you say in your website. To educate, to affect change, and to inspire. I want you to talk to me about what your organization, what are you doing right now to educate people on what parental alienation is, and what are you doing to inspire change, and what are you doing? Yeah, inspire change. What did I say? Let me do that again. What is your organization doing to educate, affect change, and inspire that the parental alienation?
So my organization is unbreakablebondfoundation.org. So the mission of the organization is to protect the family bond, basically is ultimately what it is, to make sure that a parent and child is together. Whether it's through educating the parents that are going through divorce, on a financial level, on a just mental health level, and talking to them about things that start to happen when you file for divorce or separation. If you're not married and you're just separating from, the other parent. Just educating them on some of the things that they should be looking out for, and providing like trainings and kind of like the trainings that I went through, and allowing them to go through like that initial basic kind of training.
Yeah.
To start to think of their partner as a human being, not their enemy. Because I think that is one of the biggest things. Because once you say we're going to be apart, it's like
gloves come off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like, okay, time to fight.
Yep.
Versus trying to understand, again, maybe it's not a personal thing. Maybe you guys just grew apart. Maybe there's so many things that it could be. But instead of listening and really trying to work together and co-parent, they're now enemies.
Yep.
So providing that type of training where it's way better for the child, for the parent, financially, to try to co-parent and understand the other side instead of just come out fighting.
Yeah.
So that's the level of education that I'm trying to provide for parents that are going through any type of separation. And of course, helping them with like legal information, having like an attorney, that's like in-house kind of supporting them, things like that. Yeah. And doing, a talk show or, getting a word out, writing a book.
Exactly. I love that. Okay, Rosaline, I want to say I do a Financial Fridays with a co-host of mine, and I want to bring you on. So we have to circle back to this. I would love to have you on. There's so many different things that I would like to talk to you about. I think you can really give us some insight with finance being your major, and this is what you do. I would love to have you on to talk to women about how to be financially stable and sound in a marriage, and not have that tussle, and or how to be an equal partner, but still be able to make money or at least know about the finances in their own home. So
huge.
Oh my gosh. I'm all over that. And I hear your story so loud and clear. I think you'll be able to add a lot of value to an episode if we bring you on. I would love to bring you on.
I would love that. Thank you.
Okay. So let me give you back the floor. I want you, and we're going to wrap up here. I've kept you so long. I didn't even realize the time. We could talk for days.
Oh my God. We just started at the time now of everything.
I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh no, I promise you I won't keep you long. I want you, Rosaline, if your children were listening now, what would you say?
I keep it simple. I love you. I loved you since the second I saw you. I've loved you every second of the day. And I think about you every single day. No matter what life throws at us, I'll always be here.
And on that note, we will wrap it up for today. I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your story and being vulnerable, fighting through some of the shame, fighting through the guilt, fighting through the anger and the pain, and sharing your story, your truth here on the Woman Witness podcast. I want people to know where to find your book. Where can we find it? And where can we follow you and reach out to you if we are having some questions and troubles in our own lives?
Of
Where
course.
find the book?
So the book is on Barnes & Noble or Amazon, and it's called Preyed Upon, and Preyed Upon, Multiple Generations of Parental Alienation.
Do you have it with you right now?
I do.
Yes. So people could see it. Okay.
That's the book.
Okay.
And I have an Instagram, Rosaline Alam author, and also Facebook, same, Rosaline Alam author. And the organization is unbreakablebondfoundation.org. You could send me emails there, send me messages on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials.
And I will definitely put all of Rosaline's information in the description below. Okay, Rosaline, before I let you go, give us something to take with us throughout the week.
Never give up. I know it's something you hear a lot, but that's the number one. Never give up. As much as you feel like you're being defeated, as much as you feel like you're at an all-time low, always think positive and keep pushing, even if it's 1 minute at a time. Just keep pushing.
I love it. Never give up. And on that note, that's it. Rosaline, I want to thank you so much for coming here, sharing your story. I will leave all Rosaline's information in the description below. And if you are inspired by this episode or you know someone who needs to hear this, we ask that you send it to them. We ask that you like, we ask that you share, and of course, subscribe. Follow Rosaline on all social medias. If you pick up her book, we ask that you just snap a picture, tag her, tag Woman Witness Podcast. We'd love to share and hear what you think of it and see how it's blessing you in your life. Until then, perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rosaline.